Loading snacks.
How's everybody doing? That's almost the energy I want. We're gonna try it again. Wait a minute. Who jumped the gun? How's everybody doing? That's a little more like that gamma radiation level energy I'm looking for. You guys know who's coming to the stage next? Yeah, say it louder. One more time. Yeah, I like it. We're getting there. Right behind this curtain is an incredible individual. I'm corny, don't but there's an incredible individual right here, Mr. Lou Ferrigno.
How are you, everybody? Great. Been a long time since I've been to Washington. Woo.
How do you like the area? Everybody been good to you?
I like the area, but I stay away from politics.
Okay.
I make America healthy. They could go.
The rest of it we leave alone.
Exactly.
We visit for the cherry blossoms, and that's it. Okay, so Lou, first and foremost, thank you for being here. Welcome to Big Lick Comic-Con.
Thank you.
You guys can do better than that. It's all right. That's right. Let's go. Yeah. I would like to start by getting some of the obvious questions out of the way. How long does it take to cover your entire body in green makeup? Was that the thing? Can we do that right away? Let's get that out of the way, right? You guys want to know that? All right, let's do that. Let's start there.
Well, the makeup took like 3.5 hours. I'd be the first one on the set and the last one to leave because of all the long hours of makeup. It was very uncomfortable because I had to be retouched all day, especially sometime when it's cold. I have a green underwear. And I'm standing with my arm outstretched, and they got this ball of clay rubbing the makeup in.
All right, so let me just make sure I got this. We're standing in a T pose, and they are covering you and retouching.
It's pancake makeup, a ball of clay. There was spray water. This is over 40 years ago. They rubbed it in. Today you have the spray,
right?
But they did it by hand.
So 3 hours.
And then the face, no, about 2 hours, 2.5 hours. The face took like an hour and a half because of all the prosthetics.
Okay, and so then how long to get out of it?
About an hour, 20 minutes, because they had to use a lot of solution to take the appliances off because of the spare gum glue.
Yeah.
And the body had to take 2 or 3 showers.
So, first on set, last to leave, that's work ethic. Can we talk about your work ethic? Because you have many accolades. The youngest Mr. Universe, 21.
IUBB, yes.
The youngest ever. And that record still stands, right? So let's talk about your work ethic, right? First on set, last to leave. Is that the same work ethic you put into everything?
It's my whole life.
Yeah. Why?
Well, it's funny that I had a severe relationship with my father, a love and hate relationship. And being very young, I had to overcome my hearing and speech, but I had to overcome diversity because close to birth, I've lost like 85% of my hearing. So I had to work harder than the average person to succeed. So I've always been a warrior. Even till today, I just left working because it makes me feel productive.
Yeah.
And that's why also being a bodybuilding champion, it's the discipline, the motivation, the determination applies to that. Because, that's me personally, because I think everybody, it's my passion. If you have a good passion about yourself and you embrace it, that's what makes it exciting.
I would agree with that 100%, wouldn't you? Yeah. So how did you find bodybuilding? Why bodybuilding?
Well, when I was a kid, I used to read a lot of the comic books, like the Hulk and Superman, because to escape the pain of the rejection, my imagination, so the comic book really saved my life. The one time I went to a comic book store to trade comics, I saw a guy in the cover, blonde hair, he did a chest pose, Day Draper, Mr. Universe, and it said muscle power. So I opened the magazine, it said Mr. Universe. I never realized they had a Mr. Universe.
Right.
And I watched all these guys in the magazine working out. I said, this is great. It's about power.
Yeah.
I was addicted to power. So I started bodybuilding, and I sold all the comic books. I traded the comic books. I had the first issue of the Hulk, the first issue of Spider-Man. I traded in for Muscle magazine. I could have bought this building now.
Wait. Because I know that hurt a lot of you in your heart. I want to repeat that. You had the first issue of Spider-Man.
Yes.
First issue of the Hulk.
Yes.
You traded them in.
Yes.
For Muscle magazine.
Yes.
I mean, it worked out.
Yeah.
It worked out, right? It worked out, right? Would any of you have done that? Probably not. But it worked out. You took a chance. I like that. So now, I do want to actually talk about diversity. A lot of times we do panels like this. We talk to folks who come to conventions like this because this is where they can feel like they are themselves. Would you guys agree with that? Right? Like, you know you're in an area with like-minded individuals, right? So overcoming that diversity, is it, for you, I imagine it started very young, right? Was it always specifically about your hearing or your speech, or were there other things that also were maybe kind of pushed against you, or maybe you were made fun of besides those things too?
Well, it was three things, because it was also the speech.
Sure.
And also I had an old-fashioned hearing aid that I had a wire to the chest. I had the old-fashioned. Kids that called me Deaf Mute, Deaf Louie. And also I was very introverted.
Okay.
I got bullied a lot.
Sure.
Yeah. So when I go home, I told my father one time they beat me up. My father gave me another beating. He said, "Don't ever come home, tell me you can't fight for yourself."
Wow. So you found a way to be able to defend yourself.
Exactly.
Right? Did you ever get into outside of bodybuilding? Was it ever martial arts or anything like that for you, or just making sure that you had the power?
I did do martial arts for a short time because I did a movie called Gage.
Oh, yeah.
I played a soldier that got shot in the head. It was with deficient.
Yeah.
But I did a martial art training. Also, I'm a police officer. I've been a deputy sheriff now for 20 years.
Right.
I've learned a lot of combat techniques. It's great because it's fun. But it's funny that when you grow up as a kid, children don't have the psychological defenses to defend themselves.
Right.
So later on, when you're adult, you kind of laugh about it because
Sure.
it's like just say you and I were young. You beat me up, right? And then later in life,
I'm not going to try to imagine me beating up Lou Ferrigno as a child.
And then when you get old, you want my autograph instead.
Exactly. That's right. So you turned it around on him. What? Give me the inside story on how you ended up in the 1977 Incredible Hulk show. How did that happen?
Well, I was training for the 1977 Miss Olympia competition.
Yeah.
And I received a phone call. They said they had an audition for the Hulk. Because at the time, they were looking for somebody to fit the part.
Sure.
And they did a nationwide casting call. So they called me and went down for the screen test. And I didn't want to get painted green. I wanted to audition. I didn't have a choice. So I auditioned. I was filming the next day. The next day. I didn't know anything about acting, movie cameras, studios. I didn't know. I got thrown in there.
Yeah.
But I adjusted to it. But it's amazing that in 24 hours it was history.
Yeah.
Nothing I expected to happen. But
Just
I'll tell
like
you
that.
one thing. I said to myself, nobody could play the Hulk better than I could.
Agreed. I still agree. Right? What is your take on the iterations of the Hulk since you've done it? How do you feel about how the character himself has changed? Look, I'm a 70s baby, so changing the name to David instead of Bruce, right? We got our Bruce back. But like, what are your thoughts on the evolution of the character?
I'm disappointed because the Hulk needs to be authentic. I ain't good that Dr. Jekyll was the high fashion.
Yeah.
And the new movies, I think it's more like a professor. People resort back to the series. It's completely different than the human. I'm hopeful that will go back to the original fashion.
And go back to some of that, where that core anger comes from.
Exactly. Dr. Jekyll meant the high, the real fashion.
Yeah. It was one of my favorite things to kind of, on the original show, watch that transition and kind of see the character go through the stress and the concern about always having to be on the run and never really being able to find a home and being afraid of turning into something that he was scared to hurt people. But in the end, always a hero. I know that there are people out here who have questions. I'm almost positive. Raise your hand if you have questions for Mr. Lou Ferrigno. No. Like if you have them and you're like not ashamed, like raise your hand high, like you might have a question.
If they could stand up.
They could okay, that will help if you could stand up if you have questions, because I know we do. So raise your hand and or stand up if you have a question. Here's what's going to happen. I have a gentleman over here with a microphone, and I have a gentleman over here with a microphone. They will raise their hands really high. You want their attention. I mean, you need my attention, but you want their attention so that they'll come to you, give you a microphone so you can ask.
We're not going to bite you. It's okay.
That's it. Well, you know, it's still early in the day.
You got to give a fan courage to stand up to ask the question, because you're in front of an audience. Wait a minute. You know what the number one fear of life is? Public speaking.
I agree.
The people would rather jump out of a plane, go parachuting. I'm serious.
That's right. They'd rather jump out of a plane than speak in front of public. We're all family here. We are here for you. Who's got a question for Lou? I have one standing in the back right here, Sin.
Hi, Lou. Nice to see you. I have two quick questions. One, what type of paint did they like? Did they actually paint you like green as the Incredible Hulk? And like, what type of paint was that? And two, did like Mark Ruffalo ever like reach out to you for advice in his role?
Okay, the first question is.
The first question was about what kind of paint they used on you originally, right? I know you said it was a clay.
Yeah, the face they used grease makeup, because if the appliances, it's a water-based makeup. The body they use pancake makeup in Germany. If you put water and spread it in, it's easy makeup. It's pancake makeup, but the face with water-based grease makeup because of the appliances.
And then the second question was, did Mark Ruffalo reach out to you for any advice for his current role as the Hulk?
Not really, because Marvel owns the Hulk, so apparently they're there with themselves. I mean, I ran into him. He's a wonderful actor.
So no additional questions. Do we have another question? I got one right here up front. Stand up, please.
Hello, Lou. How are you?
Wonderful.
So in the episode of King of the Beach, when you played Carl and the Hulk, how difficult was it? And what were your thoughts on it? And tell us how the process was to create that scene.
The show he's talking about, I played my first acting role. You see me with the Hulk. Now, the good news is that I love playing myself on the show. The bad news is I didn't want to get back into the makeup because I had a chance to be an actor without the makeup.
Right.
It was a wonderful episode. It was the highest rating episode. I had a chance to meet to play a owner of a restaurant. I wanted to compete in a competition, so we incorporated the bodybuilders into that episode of King of the Beach with the Hulk.
That's awesome.
But I'd like to see, there's a scene where the Hulk breaks down. You see all these barbells and dumbbells. He's grabbing these barbells that are like 300 pounds, just throw them through the wall. Yeah.
What were they actually made of?
Like a hard plastic, like styrofoam.
Nobody got hurt during the filming of that episode, just so you know. Do we have another question? Sin's got one back here.
How was filming Pumping Iron with Arnold?
It was a lot of fun because we flew all the way to South Africa to compete.
Wow.
Pumping Iron was done exactly 50 years ago. And at the time, it was basically Arnold and I, because now bodybuilding, you have so many competitors in Olympia. Mm-hmm. So he was my idol. So be on stage with him was a lot of fun. But the difficult thing is we were in South Africa. We couldn't eat the good food. The plane ride to get there. We flew by plane, not by jet. It was like forever to get there. It was a great location, but it just, it was hard because when you're competing, you want to have fun. So basically, that whole week we went so intense to training for the competition. It was a blast because at the time I felt like we were going somewhere because we were making the movie Pumping Iron. The book was the bestseller. At least the world got a chance to see what bodybuilding really was.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a real deal. Anybody else seen Pumping Iron? Have you guys seen that? Yeah, so we have some fans in the building. I know we have some other questions too. Jokes?
So what was it like to be a bodybuilder, like meal and training wise?
It was great because the great thing about bodybuilding, I was able to build muscles above my strength. I got to a point I benched 560. I was in the first world's strongest man. Did you know one time when I was a kid, I had to take the train to go to school? I'm not making this up. I was about maybe like 18, 19. I didn't have money to pay for the token. I literally grabbed the 2 bars on the fence. I opened up like Hercules. I snuck through it to take the train to New York City because I didn't want to miss my exam. I literally did that, yeah.
I'm going to condone it because he did it so he could take a test. He did it so he could take a test. I think that's totally worth it. I think we have another question over here. Do you have a question? Sin?
This is a question. Did you ever watch the Avengers movie?
Yes, I have. I enjoyed it.
Was it? Is that? How do you like the new films? Are you a fan of the new films?
Yeah, because I enjoy it. We have all these A-list actors portraying this superhero. Because at the time when I did the Hulk pilot, Spider-Man, Captain America failed as a TV series.
That's right.
And back then, whoever played the Hulk back then was they didn't have the respect like today. Like today, you have like Denzel Washington,
right.
Hugh Jackman, all these great actors. It's wonderful because the Avengers now is right up there with Avatar, the Titanic, probably I think the 3rd or 4th highest grossing movie of all time.
Did you think at the time when you were filming The Incredible Hulk that it would be the success that it was?
I was hoping to get picked up with a series.
Yeah.
But when it received attention, it was really the first superhero that the world embraced, especially every country.
Yeah.
I knew it had a path, but I would have no idea we have the end game today. I mean, oh my God, unbelievable.
How could you have possibly imagined that this many years later you could be here because people loved that you were doing at the time? We have another question? Yep, right here in the center.
Hey, Lou. Ooh, that's loud. So I've been following you for a long time. I first saw you back when you were on Strongman with Franco, running with refrigerators, all that great stuff on a tube TV. I was curious, bridging bodybuilding and the acting that you did on the Hulk. Before you go out on stage, there is the pump up. You're working backstage. Was there any of that on the Hulk so that when you got on camera, you were at your most peak pump?
That's a good question because as the Hulk, I couldn't use weight pump up because I want to sweat, but I do isometric.
Oh.
And if keep squeezing. The only bad thing about filming this series, it hides all the definition.
Oh.
But it was the same concept. Like before you go on stage, you want to pose, be your best. So at the Hulk, I of course I did the growl, the roar, everything, but I did much as I can deflect that most muscular pose to show the anger and the body is actually doing the talking. It's very similar. That's a great question.
I would agree. Was that again? You said that you read comic books. Again, you had a first edition Hulk that you got rid of. But you had a first edition Hulk. As a collector or as someone who read those books, when you got the opportunity to audition for that role, and then you landed it, and again within 24 hours you're now shooting it. What was that like for you from a mental standpoint? Did it feel like, oh my God, I'm the Hulk?
Yeah, because something inside of me, I was a Hulk my whole life. I had a lot of demons in me, but I was gifted to show pantomime. That means pantomime is acting without speaking, shows the emotion. It came very easy for me because I knew how the Hulk thinks and feel.
Sure.
It was so natural for me. It's funny that you mentioned that because I didn't think about it then. It just followed through. Because sometimes as an actor, you get to a character, you got to study different people, adapt to that character. But the Hulk was very natural. It came natural for me, especially with the pantomime.
So would there have been that and growing up and having people make fun of the fact that you had a speech impediment or your hearing, you learn to emote without having to speak necessarily all the time. And so would you say that even though that was something that was difficult for you and was a diversity issue for you, that you were able to apply that in a way that maybe somebody else wouldn't have been right for that role of the Hulk because you could actually pantomime and do that because you had been doing it already your whole life? Is that
Yeah, because I was very fortunate with the right time and place because At the time, they were shooting the movie, The Pilot with Richard Kiel. He's the big guy on George, James Bond 7-2. He didn't fit the part.
Right.
They wanted to shelve the pilot. So Bill and Ken Johnson, the executive producers, said, let's do a casting call just to make sure that when I walked on the set, that's the guy we want. Because even the director's son said, Dad, this is not the Hulk. The Hulk needs to look like the comic book.
Right.
So when I arrived on the set, it was the perfect timing because I had the physique, the agility, the speed,
Yeah.
and also to show some emotion. And
So you had it all. He had it all. He still has it all, right? That's right. Who else has questions? Got one in the back here.
Yeah, really enjoyed the show. What can you comment about Bill Bixby? How was he to work with as an actor, and how was the cast in terms of how you would deal with him on a acting role and stuff?
well, you know, Bill was going to be a lawyer, but apparently he got bitten by the acting bug. Bill was a wonderful producer, director, and an actor. So when I got a chance to know him, he was my mentor. I studied him. I was a huge fan of him because he did the TV series Courtship of Eddie's Father, My Favorite Martian. He was a veteran actor. So it was almost like a relationship because when you film a TV series, you spend more time with your co-stars than home, like with your spouse or your kids and everything. But I learned so much from him. I'm the kind of person that I believe in life. I always ask questions to learn because when you think you know everything, that's why for me, I never acted before. It was like a learning platform for me. So I never told people I want to be an actor because they would laugh at me and say, a guy like you wearing hearing aids, you can't be an actor. You have to be perfect. But today's different because now we have so many different actors with accent. So like Arnold, Sylvester Stallone, they broke the mold, which is good. But Bill was incredible. He was very witty, very smart. And the greatest thing I enjoy when I watch him do a scene, I knew I follow him because even myself, when you see him do a scene, the intensity, nobody could compare to Bill Bixby today. When you watch him, you know that he's going to be pissed and you're going to see the Hulk. It's a perfect transition.
I like that. A good question about Bill Bixby for sure. Do we have another question out here? We got a question all the way in the back end.
Have you ever met Mark Ruffalo?
Have you met Mark Ruffalo?
I met him. I'm a fan of his, and he's a wonderful actor, especially he's done other films. Yeah. I mean, he's a very good actor.
What are some of the roles that you've had a chance to play that aren't the Hulk, right? Do you have some favorites that are standouts for you?
Well, I got 5 movies coming out now.
5 now? Coming out now?
Yeah, one of them is a horror film called The Hermit. I play a cannibalistic pig farmer and make beef jerkies out of people.
All right, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Yeah.
I just want you to say it again. Say it again.
I play a cannibalistic pig farmer. I make beef jerky out of people. But in the movie, you think beef jerky come from the pig.
All right.
But they're human guts.
I'm scared already. When is this coming out?
It should be out shortly, 2 or 3 months.
I love it. Okay.
So I have another movie coming out called Hard Redemption. It's a martial arts film. I play a security guard in this high school, and the gang shut down the high school. They want to take over the school. There's me and another guy. He's a 10th-degree black belt, and we fight the gang. Of course.
You're beating up kids. I'm asking, are you beating up kids in this movie? Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it's a different variation. I also a hard film movie with a bunch of kids and they're deaf. They want to win the track and field championship. There's a lot of opposition against them. Okay. So 5 different film. A movie with Dean Cain called Fallen Angel. It's a comedy.
Okay.
So
Dean Cain, for our Superman fans out here, not you, Sin. He doesn't. You can boo him. He doesn't like Superman. It's fine if you want to. So 5 movies, 2 at least are horror genre. Is that one horror? Do you like doing the horror more?
Well, I like it because it's the first time I love the character.
Yeah.
Because I can play different characters. I love it because I'm a big horror fan.
Okay. What's your favorite horror movie?
The Exorcist.
Exorcist fans? We'll clap for that. I'm scared. I've seen it. I'm not going to watch it again.
The Walking Dead.
Walking Dead. Why The Exorcist?
Well, I saw that movie when I was 21.
Okay.
When I left that theater, I was scared.
You were actually scared.
I'm serious.
Yeah.
I mean, it just hit me, especially the portray or what the devil inside Linda Blair.
Yeah.
That really got to me, and the way they had her bouncing on the bed and the voice, everything. That movie really got.
Nah, it's officially scary. That's a real thing.
What's your scary movie?
Have you ever seen a movie called The People Under the Stairs? The People Under the Stairs is like, it's old, let me see, maybe like late 80s. It's a very scary movie. Like it makes you think, if your basement is unfinished, it will make you think that there might be things or people living under your stairs that might do something to you. It's actually really scary. That and arachnophobia, even though I love Spider-Man, arachnophobia, I don't mind spiders, but a lot of them is a little too much for me. In the second film you mentioned, you're playing a security guard.
Yeah.
You're able to bring your background as a sheriff, like working in law enforcement, to that. How does that work for you? Do you like being able to do that? Like, are you giving them, you're like, this is not how we would do this. This is how we need to do it.
Well, you got to remember that my father was a police lieutenant.
Yeah.
So I went through the academy 20 years ago. I like to teach weapons shooting, promoting, pushing. But police officers today, they get rocks thrown at them. They're being abused. The people don't realize what it's like to be on the other side of the law.
Right. It's very different.
Yeah. So I do a lot of search and rescue. I mean, I like to give back, change people's lives. But it's funny is that when you watch it, when I was a kid, my father being a police officer, it's respect.
Yeah. It's very different. Give it up for Lou. Actually, did you guys know that he worked in law enforcement like that?
Thank you.
It's tough. It's a big deal. Please give it up. I think you have a question. That was your clapping. I love it. We have a question back here, Jokes.
I heard you. Oh my God.
She heard you mention getting bullied when you were growing up, and she was wondering if you had any personal advice on overcoming that.
You know, when you talk about bullying can be online, it could be a relative, it could be anybody. The best advice I would give as a bully, if you're being bullied, the bully got a problem. It's not you, because I would go talk to the police officer or talk to some kind of a therapist, and don't hold back, because sometimes it could lead to homicide, it could to a serious harm, because these people have insecurities about control.
That's right.
And I think it's important that you take action. Like kids who don't take action, they're the ones who become the victim. They're the ones who internalize everything. Bullying is a big issue today, especially it can happen with texting, online, social media. That's something that I'm glad you brought it up, just to be aware of it. It's very crucial.
I would agree. We have another question here, Jokes. Go ahead.
Thanks for coming, first of all.
You're welcome.
Second of all, if they were making a movie about your life, what actor would you want to play the role?
I think it's, what's his name? Joe Manganiello. He used to be married to Sofia Vergara. He's a tall guy. He'd be perfect to play me. There will be a movie someday about my life. I want to be very inspirational. When you see this movie, you say where he came from, what he's done. I could do the same. You see, everybody here in this building is handicapped one way or another.
Yeah.
Physically, emotionally. And then it's all about passion, because there's no excuses. Like, for example, there's no reason why you can't change your life. Like, for example, some people have good parents, some people have bad parents, some people have, bad environment, but it's all about taking action. That's why what's nice about a place like this, every one of us has a superhero power inside of us. We make that superhero connection here.
I agree. You're all superheroes, that's for sure. You can clap for that.
There's a lady here who's a big fan of mine. She's wearing a Hulk t-shirt. This is my other half. This is the love of my life. Say hi to Lisa Rivera. Thank you, Lisa.
She's been over there shooting video, taking pictures. She's doing an incredible job. Good job. Do we have another question? Right here in the front. Sin. Oh, there we go.
Hey, Lou. I loved you in The Incredible Hulk and other.
Speak up just a little bit for him.
Oh, okay. I can't hear myself.
Okay.
How does working in comedy, like on King of Queens, how does that compare to working as Incredible Hulk?
You know, I tell you, King and Queen, it's a comedy. You're performing in front of over 100 people like this, and it's live. And you only get 2 takes as an actor in this team, because if you're not funny, you're not funny. That's why they have what you call a reading with the network. Monday, we go through the line. But the good thing about the King and Queen comedy, you get that instant feedback. When you're filming a movie or TV series, you should have a crew. So basically, later on, you understand the respect. It's like doing a stage play.
Yeah.
You know right then and there how good you are, how good the audience is, how good the script is. The same thing with King and Queen. The feedback is exciting because especially you can't fool the audience. Comedy is very hard.
Yeah.
Who was the funniest on that show?
Kevin Jane.
Of course.
Of course.
Lee Remini. I mean, she got like a mouth of a construction worker. She's hysterical.
I love the 2 of them.
I believe
Thank
it. Makes the comedies anymore. Seinfeld, King and Queen. When you watch the show, the imperfect people. It's funny. They goof on themselves. It's wonderful.
That's a lot of what made it good. You were on that show for like what, 7 years, 7 or 8
Probably
years?
for 7 years.
7 or 8 years. In doing a show like that for that long, that show, you know, was on TV for longer than the Incredible Hulk was, and of course that's what, you know, people will come. This is a comic convention, so of course people are here because of the Incredible Hulk. But to land a role like that where you get to be you, right? How is that different in being in a role that's on a show and it's not a documentary, but you get to be you?
Well, the thing is, even though you're playing you, it's a dialogue.
Yeah.
If you're going to try to be funny, it's not going to work. You have to really, for example, the dialogue, the lines, how you relate, how you connect with the other actor.
Yeah.
It's very fine, very subtle. I've seen some actors come on the show, fine actors, they can't handle it.
Really?
Yeah, it's hard for them because they're so used to doing stage work and being as a serious actor. But comedy, you have to be flexible.
It's timing. There's a difference
it's
with
tough.
timing. Yeah, I appreciate that. Do we have another question? We got one right here in the center, Sin.
How are you?
How are you?
I have a question about your son. Now that he's acting, do you give him any advice?
Well, he grew up with me, and now you've been on the film set. You see how I acted? The only thing he hates about me is that I gave him the same name, and sometimes a check comes to my house instead of him.
I mean, do you keep the checks?
What do you think?
All right. We don't have to go into that part. Do we have another question? We got one back here. That's going to be maybe a little tough through the mask. We're going to see what we can do.
Okay, perfect. I apologize if this question was already asked, but if you were to reprise the role as the Hulk, would you put on makeup or would you switch to modern CG?
Well, it depends. If I'm playing the guard or something that requires the makeup, yes.
Okay.
I don't have a choice.
Just that simple. Would you prefer to be able to do the role? Like if it was up to you, would you prefer to do the makeup?
Well, it depends on the role. I mean, especially if it's like a god of the Hulk or something, had to be green. I understand that it's all about character acting. Yes.
Yeah. Have you continued to keep up with Hulk comics specifically at all?
I haven't done it for a long time, but I know the beginning of the Hulk's supposed to be gray. They changed it to green.
Yeah.
And now you have the Red Hulk. Like, for example, I haven't seen the Red Hulk yet, Harrison Ford, but I can't wait to see it because I need to go in that direction.
A more angry.
Not being a professor.
Yeah. I actually like that too. Do you have a favorite Hulk story? Something from set? Something that happened when you guys were filming the original show? Is there a story that you like to tell that?
Yeah, one time I got to the set, it was like 4 in the morning. There was a big catering truck. And they said to me, what do you want to have for breakfast? Because they said we had to leave in 45 minutes. I said, okay. Usually at the time I have like a dozen eggs for breakfast.
Yeah.
I said, okay. So they bring the omelet to me in a dish. And I leave it outside my motorhome on the door because it's hot. It'll cool in the morning. It'll cool down.
Yeah.
So the truck takes off. 15 minutes later, I say to the makeup man, could you please retrieve my omelet? I'm hungry. He opened the door. The dish was empty. The coyotes ate my breakfast. I don't like coyotes.
I wouldn't like coyotes either. We just had somebody on stage talking about coyotes just a moment ago. Coyotes ate his breakfast, so you guys keep that in mind. Don't leave your eggs out where the coyotes can get them. Do we have any more questions out here? We got one right back here in the center, Jokes.
Thank you for coming here. I just wanted to ask, what was it like playing Hercules later on in your career?
Well, that was a lot of fun because I was a big fan of the original Hercules, Steve Reeves.
Yeah, yeah.
As a kid, I went to see him in the movie. So they approached me on the last season of The Hulk. They were doing a Hercules movie. Of course, I was excited the fact that I had a chance to show my physique at his best without any makeup. We filmed in Rome, Italy, at the actual different original location. It was a blast. And for me, the hardest thing for me to do was to maintain that same condition for 3 months.
Yeah.
Yeah. Once you make a movie, you're on that screen, it's permanent. You can't go back and fix it.
Right.
So in advance, I just knew I had to plan all the preparation, what to do to look like that character.
How did you maintain it over that time? Like, did you have to change your call times on set, or did you have that like?
Well, what I did, I had at the time I didn't have a gym, a motorhome to train, so I got an Olympic set, barbells and dumbbells, and the bench in the hotel room.
Yeah.
And I would train early in the morning, maybe like 2 hours. I would get up 2 hours before I go to the set to train for an hour, eat breakfast, then go to the set. Much as I don't want to, but that's what it takes.
That's how it works. That's how it works. Do you have a favorite place that you've traveled specifically for acting for a gig? Is there a favorite place to go to?
I believe at the time I was filming in Rome, Italy, I would say not filming, I'm filming near the Colosseum. My favorite place would go to the Vatican.
Okay.
To see Michelangelo's painting. Do you know he spent 8 years on the scaffold painting? 8 years.
It's a long time.
Yes.
It's a long time. That's longer than you were on King of Queens. Just working on one piece of, I mean, that's a long time. Is that your favorite piece of artwork?
Yes.
It really is. Is that because you got a chance to actually see it in person, or is it
well,
just...
as a kid, growing up with Italian-American grandparents, they came from Italy.
Yeah.
They always talk about Michelangelo, about his painting. But when you go to the Vatican, when you walk in, it hits you. You get goosebumps.
Yeah.
Because everybody's looking up. I said, why is everybody looking up? I went in the room. It's unbelievable.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
There's so many different paintings today, but that really affected me, like the Mona Lisa.
Yeah. Yeah, I would agree. Do we have any more questions? Good, because it's time for us to wrap this up. Lou's gotta go. Are we sad? It doesn't sound like you're sad. You gotta say, oh, Lou's gotta go. However,
thank you all. I love you. Thank you so much for coming. I'll be at the table down there. I appreciate your support. You guys are great and fantastic. Thank you.
Give yourselves a round of applause. Give Lou Ferrigno a round of applause. Make sure you please go visit him at his table. It's been awesome.
Thank you. You did a great job.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. You guys heard that? That was recorded. We recorded that, right? He said I did a great job. Thanks. What it do, snackers and snackettes? Did you like what you just saw? Would you like to help us grow? Here's what you can do. Shoot over to patreon.com/loading snacks. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe on your favorite platform of choice. Appreciate you.